What's the real difference between the person who succeeds and the person who fails? It's not talent, it's not luck, and it's definitely not about making massive, earth-shattering changes. The answer is in this book, and it's a system, a blueprint for a total life transformation built on tiny, almost invisible changes. Stick with me, and I'll give you the 5-step framework that will fundamentally change the way you approach your goals. All right, let's get straight to it. We've distilled hundreds of pages of powerful strategy into 5 actionable lessons. Pay attention, because this first one is the foundation for everything. The first central lesson is the compounding effect of small habits. The core idea is this: small, daily improvements seem completely insignificant in the moment, but they compound into remarkable results over the long run. Real, lasting success is the product of your daily habits, not some once-in-a-lifetime transformation. This principle, often called the aggregation of marginal gains, proves that the key to massive achievement is simply getting 1% better every single day. Over time, that 1% multiplies into an incredible advantage. The book gives a brilliant real-world example of this, the transformation of British cycling. For 100 years, they were mediocre at best. They'd won a single gold medal and had never won a Tour de France. In 2003, they hired a new performance director, Dave Brailsford. His strategy was simple: improve everything by 1%. They redesigned bike seats to be more comfortable. They tested massage gels to see which one led to the fastest muscle recovery. They even hired a surgeon to teach the riders how to wash their hands to reduce the chance of getting a cold. On their own, these changes seemed trivial. But as hundreds of these 1% improvements accumulated, the results were staggering. Just 5 years later, the British cycling team dominated the 2008 Olympics. Years of consistent, tiny gains compounded into world-class performance. So, how do you use this? Here is your action plan for this week. First, identify one key area you want to improve: your career, your fitness, your finances. Just one. Second, define a 1% better action. This must be a tiny, almost laughably small improvement. Not write a business plan, but write one sentence of my business plan. Not go to the gym for an hour, but do 5 minutes of exercise. Third, execute that 1% action every single day this week. The goal isn't the result. The goal is to show up and make the small effort. You are building the foundation. This leads directly to our second lesson. Focus on systems, not goals. Think about it. Every Olympian wants to win the gold medal. Every entrepreneur wants a successful business. Winners and losers often have the exact same goals. The goal itself isn't what differentiates them. A goal is a direction, but it's the system that produces the results. Achieving a goal is just a momentary change. The system is what creates a sustainable process for continuous improvement. The book references Scott Adams, the creator of the Dilbert comic, who makes this distinction perfectly. For Adams, his goal wasn't to become a famous cartoonist. His system was to draw and write every single day. He says a system-first mentality provides the antidote to the all-or-nothing trap of goals. When you fall in love with the process rather than the product, you don't have to wait to be happy. You can be satisfied anytime your system is running. And that system can be successful in many different forms. Here is your blueprint for building a system. First, take your biggest professional or personal goal. Let's say it's get a promotion. Second, reverse engineer the system that would lead to that outcome. Ask yourself, what is the process that would make this result inevitable? It might be spend 15 minutes every Friday documenting my wins, or take the lead on one small new initiative each month. Third, forget the goal and focus entirely on executing the system. Your only job is to run the process. The score takes care of itself. Our third lesson is arguably the most powerful: the identity shift principle. The most effective way to change your behavior is to stop focusing on what you want to achieve and start focusing on who you wish to become. True, lasting behavior change is identity change. The goal isn't just to write a book, it's to become a writer. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to be. You become your habits, so the most practical way to change who you are is to change what you do. The book offers a simple but profound example. Imagine two people trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, the first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." This person still sees themselves as a smoker who is attempting to change. Their identity is in conflict with their goal. The second person says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." This statement signals a shift in identity. The behavior is now a reflection of who they are, not who they're trying to be. Here's how you can create an identity shift this week. First, decide the type of person you want to be, not the result, the identity. For example, instead of "I want to lose 20 pounds," it's "I am a healthy person who is full of energy." Second, prove it to yourself with small wins. Ask yourself, what would a healthy person do right now? They might walk instead of drive or choose water over soda. Each small action you take casts a vote for your new identity. Okay, lesson 4 is about making all of this easier. The lesson is, design your environment for success. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior. Willpower is a short-term, unreliable tool. The most disciplined people aren't heroes. They are just better at structuring their lives to eliminate temptation. To build a good habit, you must make the cues obvious and visible. To break a bad habit, you must make its cues invisible. The book highlights a study by a doctor named Anne Thorndike at a Boston hospital. She wanted to improve the eating habits of thousands of staff and visitors without changing their willpower. Her team started by simply changing how drinks were arranged in the cafeteria. Originally, the refrigerators next to the cash registers were filled only with soda. They added water as an option to each one. They also placed baskets of bottled water near food stations. Soda was still available, but water was now the most obvious choice. The result? Soda sales dropped by over 11%, and water sales increased by nearly 26%. No one said a word. They simply redesigned the environment. Your action plan is to become the architect of your environment. First, to build a good habit, reduce the friction. Want to read more? Place a book on your pillow. Want to drink more water? Fill up a water bottle and place it on your desk first thing in the morning. Second, to break a bad habit, increase the friction. Wasting too much time on your phone? Leave it in another room while you work. The more steps you put between you and a bad habit, the less likely you are to do it. This brings us to our final lesson, which ties everything together: the 4 laws of behavior change. Every habit, good or bad, follows the same 4-step neurological loop: cue, craving, response, and reward. To create good habits, you must make them obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. To break bad habits, you do the inverse: make them invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. This is the complete playbook for engineering your own behavior. A powerful example of this comes from public health worker Stephen Luby in Karachi, Pakistan. He found that while people knew they should wash their hands, they didn't do it consistently. The habit wasn't satisfying. His team partnered with Procter & Gamble to provide a premium soap called Safeguard. Suddenly, the act of hand washing became a more pleasurable, satisfying experience. The reward was immediate. As a result, disease rates plummeted. Years later, the habit stuck, even after the free soap was gone. They made the habit satisfying. The practical application, the how to use it, here is your final action plan. First, pick one good habit you want to build. Second, run it through the 4 laws. Ask 1, how can I make the cue for it more obvious? 2, how can I make the action more attractive? 3. How can I make it easier to do it? 4. How can I make the reward more satisfying? Systematically engineering your habits with this framework is the secret to making them stick. So, what's the ultimate takeaway from all this? Success isn't about massive, revolutionary change. It's about building a system of small, atomic habits that compound over time, aligning with the person you want to become, and engineering your environment so that doing the right thing is the easiest thing. That is the secret to results that last. Now, I want to hear from you. Look at the 5 lessons we covered. In the comments below, tell me, which single lesson are you going to apply this week, and what is your first specific action step? Let's make this an action-oriented community.